Jai Hind friends, I'm Major Gaurav Arya and you're watching the Chanakya Dialogues English. You know, Pakistan shenanigans are something that people are not able to forgive. Stabbing America in the back, stabbing Taliban in the back, stabbing everybody in the back and stabbing them itself in the back, or we are superior to a Christian or a Sikh. Absolutely not. We are all equal. God created all of us. How can I be superior to a Muslim? How can I be superior to a Christian? Jai Hind friends, I'm Major Gaurav Arya and you're watching the Chanakya Dialogues English. Like this video, subscribe to our channel and don't forget to press the bell icon. Yevgeny Prigozhin, the head of the Wagner Group, which tried to reach Moscow, which tried to do a coup in Moscow, which was certainly aimed against Putin and his defense minister Shoigu. That failed. There was some sort of an intervention by the Belarus president and Lukashenko, and now this person, he went back, the head of the Wagner Group. Now he's apparently in Belarus, but this controversy refuses to die down, ladies and gentlemen. Now what is the controversy? He says that the way I went and almost reached Moscow, I was 200 kilometers short of Moscow. This is nothing but a masterclass in what Russia should have done in Ukraine. So essentially the complaint here is, or the point that he's trying to make is that, you should have done to Ukraine what I did to you. And I'm just showing you how operations have to be done. Now, this is a bit rich coming from a band of mercenaries or a person who headed a mercenary group like Wagner, but this is what he told. Now, there are a few differences and a lot of people have argued on national television about the pros and cons. Yevgeny Prigozhin says that Russia did not put its heart and soul into the Ukraine war, which even I agree to some extent, because this is not classical Russia, this war in Ukraine, What they did in Crimea, what they did in other places, they could not replicate in Ukraine. Maybe the Ukrainians had better fighting spirit. Maybe they were better supported by the West. Maybe the Russians did not bring their A game, on that night. I don't know what the real reason is. But the fact of the matter is Russia seems stuck in Ukraine. And this is this guy's, Yevgeny's major complaint against Russia. Now, he had a lot of things going on, which we have discussed in the past. I don't want to repeat it, but he had this major clash going on with Putin's advisors and Putin's defense minister, his chief of general staff and everybody else. And he said that you are not supporting me and you are rather attacking me. I'm fighting for Mother Russia. I'm supposed to be a brother in arms. Rather than giving me the support that you gave to Russian army units, you left us high and dry. You treated us like orphans, and which is why Russia has been losing. He also said that it is us, the Wagner Group, that has taken maximum casualties in the Ukrainian war. We are the ones who got you the cities. We are the ones who got you the towns. We are the ones who sacrificed while your general sat in air-conditioned rooms in Moscow. This is all he said. And obviously, there are 2-3 things that I'd like to state here before I move on to the next article, which is Pakistan, by the way. Ladies and gentlemen, there are 2-3 things. First of all, this entire truce brokered by Lukashenko, the president of Belarus, I don't think it will hold. And there is a reason. If Putin decides to forgive the Wagner chief, right? If Putin decides to forgive this guy, Putin will look weak. And the entire political structure of Ukraine is based on strength. It's who can be more brutal, who can be more dictatorial. It's not a classic democracy. While they have their elections, but it's not a classic democracy in Russia. We must be mindful of that. And if he forgives the head of the Wagner Group, Prigozhin, then Putin is gone. He would have lost face in front of the Russians because Russians are used to strong men being their bosses all throughout, right from Stalin, Lenin, and God knows whom. They've always had people, except for one odd Gorbachev here and there. They've classically had people who had no compunctions about shedding blood of innocent people. The famous Russian gulags where people would be sent, political prisoners would be sent to die in Siberia. Typically, Russian politics has been like that always. So unless he takes a step against the head of the Wagner Group, Putin's credibility is gone forever. So now Putin is on very, very shaky ground. And I think what he's going to do is what Putin has done in the past. Putin is not above sending assassins to do his dirty work. He's done it in the past, by the way. And all Russian presidents have done it. You criticize Putin a little too much, and even if you're in Canada or London or the US, you will suddenly one day fall off the 5th floor of your building, just like that, just because you want to defy the laws of gravity. You'll just fall off your this thing, or you might have a heart attack, or you might have some polonium poisoning, whatever that is, and some fancy way of death will be concocted. And this is what the Russians have been doing ever since the Cold War and even before. They'll figure out a way to get to you. And I think this is the message which Putin will be looking to pass. That very famous interview which is now viral on social media, ladies and gentlemen, Putin says that I can forgive everything except betrayal. So Putin is going to try his best to eliminate Prigozhin. Now, coming to Pakistan. In Pakistan, Arshad Sharif Chaudhry, Major General, DGISPR, he got a press conference going, and it was a long, rambling press conference, generally attended by a lot of the media that is faithful to the Pakistan Army, and they get paid by the Pakistan Army. So mostly those were there, not all, but mostly those kind of reporters and journalists and TV anchors were there, in which he said that, the May 9th incident when Imran Khan was arrested, the way Imran Khan was arrested, and after that there were riots all over Pakistan, especially in Lahore, the Major General, DGISPR, he said that this is unforgivable and we have punished our own people. So self-accountability is the first accountability, and 1 Lieutenant General and 2 Major Generals are gone. Apart from that, there are over 100 people right now being tried, and 15 officers of the Pakistani Army, which include brigadiers, colonels, Major Generals, they have already been tried and punished. So there is a major housekeeping going on inside the Pakistan Army, and I would like to tell you something about it. Anybody who supported Imran Khan, first of all, if you're an army officer serving, you have no business supporting any political party, right? Whatever you think is going wrong with the army, your first loyalty should be with the army, especially if you're serving. Once you've retired, once you've left the army, once you're a pensioner, then it's up to you, whoever you wish to support. That's all right. But you can't be a corps commander inside an army, any army for that matter, and say that, okay, I support that person against the government of the day. This is delusional. This is absolutely delusional. And this is why Imran Khan became so dangerous for the establishment in Pakistan. And I'll dwell on that a little bit. Ladies and gentlemen, Imran Khan managed to convince generals of the Pakistani army, brigadiers and colonels of the Pakistani army, young officers of the Pakistani army, to revolt against their own chief, or to revolt against their own system. Now, what is holding the Pakistani army together? Let me tell you, as an Indian Army officer, a former Indian Army officer, and we have a similar past. So there was the British Indian Army, and after partition, the British Indian Army, was divided into 2 parts: the Indian Army and the Pakistan Army, right? So the Indian Army was also partitioned like the country, and Muslim majority units went to Pakistan. That is how apparently they were partitioned, the country. So what happened actually in case of Pakistani army is that they soon got into this huge spiral of getting dictators and all that, Ayub Khan, Yahya Khan, Pervez Musharraf, Ziaul Haq and all those. So it became a different sort of army. The Indian Army did not have those problems. It was always an army that accepted civilian supremacy and said that we will do our job of guarding the frontiers. We have nothing to do with politics. The Pakistani army today should not be surprised. What happens is that if you wrestle with a pig, okay, a pig is lying in dirt, it's lying in mud. If you start wrestling and fighting with a pig, you will also get dirty. And this is what the Pakistani army did not realize. They started dealing with Pakistani politicians. First, the Pakistani army entered politics, and after that, politics entered the Pakistan army. Because it has to be a two-way street. It can't be a one-way street forever. For a very, very long time, there was no politics within the Pakistani army in the sense of electoral politics I'm talking about. Otherwise, the Pakistan army is a highly politicized institution, but I'm talking about electoral politics, supporting People's Party or Noon League or Tehreek-e-Insaf. That thing was not there in the Pakistani army. This was started by Imran Khan Niazi. He actually motivated the family members of the senior serving officers to revolt against their own system. You see the beauty of Imran Khan. He corrupted the minds of those people who were beneficiaries of that very system. So apparently, there is, I think, the daughter or daughter-in-law of a 4-star general who's being tried under military law. There are 2, 3, 4 women who are, directly related to a few corps commanders. They are being tried. Just imagine a girl is born in the house of a Pakistani army officer when he's a captain or a major. And he grows and grows and grows in service, and this girl also becomes a young woman. She gets married. And by the time she does, her father, right? Her father is a 4-star general in the Pakistani army, right? Or a 3-star general in the Pakistan army. She is the beneficiary of a certain system for decades. She has been brought up in the lap of luxury, everything provided to her. Everything provided for her. I mean, there isn't a better life in Pakistan because the Pakistani army does not fight. The Pakistani army steals the resources of Pakistanis. What Imran Khan did was, the beauty of Imran Khan was, he corrupted the minds of the very people who were beneficiaries of the system. And he instigated them to revolt against the system. This is something that the Pakistani army could not digest. So all these people are now going to be sorted out. All these people. There are many who will go to prison. There are many whose pensions are going to be stopped. And I'm telling you next what's going to happen. Even people who have retired. Mark my words, retired Faujis or retired officers of the Pakistani army who have done all this, right, who have supported Imran Khan, who have come out very strongly in support of Imran Khan, expect a few to no longer get their pensions. And they're going to be they will be pariahs, they'll be out of the system, they'll be out of that ecosystem. I don't think the Pakistani army is, except for Jawans, I don't think the officer lot is very bothered about pensions because all of them are rich, they are millionaires. They don't care about a few lakh rupees pension here and there. That is what they would spend in an evening dinner. But the fact of the matter is that, they'll be out of that beneficiary ecosystem now. That is how General Asim Munir will deal with these guys. And this is already starting in Pakistan. Now, another news that has come in is very surprising. India is getting 31 armed drones, You can call them predators, you can call them guardians. They're like variations of a similar platform. Not same, but similar platform. So what is happening is that now Pakistan says, Kiji, we also want it. So now obviously Pakistan will not get the Predator drones. So what Pakistan is saying is that we want Kai Hong 4 drones. So CH4 as they are called, Kai Hong. These drones they're known more for not being able to fly than being able to fly, right? And this is substandard technology and this is really sad. These drones are really sad and but they're Chinese, all right? So I don't have to go on explaining the technicalities, just so that you understand this is Chinese stuff, okay? So you know how it will function. This is Chinese stuff. Now what's happening here is that Pakistan says that because India has those drones from America, 31, and earlier India was operating a couple of them, I think 3 or 4, a few of them. They were operating Sea Guardian, I think the Navy was operating, but those are on lease. This India is buying. Now Pakistan says we also need drones. But who's going to give Pakistan drones? Because Pakistan wants them free of cost. If Pakistan tomorrow could figure out a way of giving $4-5 billion to the United States of America, I think the US would have been very happy to supply the drones to Pakistan. Maybe, I'm guessing. Pakistan shenanigans are something that people are not able to forgive. Stabbing America in the back, stabbing Taliban in the back, stabbing everybody in the back and stabbing them itself in the back. Pakistanis are past masters of that. But, it could have been a face saving. But now, since they don't have money, they are forced to buy. And I'm not saying that the Americans would have sold it to them, but Americans could have considered the idea of selling them the drones. But the Pakistanis want everything free of cost. A, they don't have money, and B, they are greedy. But now they want those CH4 drones, the Kai Hong or Chai Hong or whatever it's called. Achha, those Hongs don't fly, by the way. They are known for, their technical problems, and they're known for maintenance issues, and they're known for all of that. Having said that, Pakistan has said that we want drones. Now, the ammunition for these will cost, initially they want a few missiles which will cost around 12 to 15 crore Indian rupees, which is I don't know how much Pakistani rupees, but they'll have to pay in Chinese currency, or they'll have to pay in dollars, because they'll finally have to pay China. And if they don't pay China, it's going to be a loan standing on Pakistan's head. So the more equipment India buys, the more insecure Pakistan becomes. The more insecure Pakistan becomes, the more it mortgages its own sovereignty to compete with India. So India should keep buying weapons. You don't have to fight with Pakistan. Pakistan will destroy itself just by taking too much debt that it cannot service, especially Chinese debt. So with this, I come to the end of this video. Now it's time for Ask Major. The first question comes from 007 Raw. Oh my God. Amazing. Jai Hind, sir. Jai Hind, 007 Raw. My name is Arjun. Oh, your name is Arjun. Hi, Arjun. Do you think separatist militant outfits in the Northeast sector, especially groups like NSCN, IM, uh, IM is, he's referring to Isaac Muiva, NSCN-K, pose a significant challenge to the Indian security forces in comparison to the Pakistani militant outfits in Kashmir? Don't you think the government should take a zero-tolerance stance towards the separatist organization and take strong military action? See, I'll tell you. There are 2-3 things you need to understand about all these activities that happen in the Northeast, right? There is a certain, and you can't compare it to Kashmir. Kashmir is a totally different ball game, right? There, the terrorism is hardcore Islamist. It is fueled by Pakistan, okay? That is jihad that they're trying to do. This is one. This is different. So, first of all, the Pakistan-fueled terrorism in Kashmir is dangerous, but it's not as complex as what is happening in the Northeast. We don't discuss Northeast because we don't know about Northeast, right? Most of us don't have knowledge of the Northeast, but I can tell you what is happening in the Northeast is 10 times more complex than Kashmir Valley. 10 times more complex, right? There are tribes, there are ethnicities, and there has been infighting going on for centuries in some cases. Not against India, amongst themselves only, right? Even what is happening in Manipur, right, is inter-ethnicity, inter-language, inter-tribe, inter-identity conflict. I'm trying to cover all the bases here. Now, this whole concept of that no holds barred approach, that the army should just go kill them all, let God sort them out sort of approach, this is the worst approach that any nation can take. Even in case of Kashmir, I have always said, you cannot solve the Kashmir issue, right, by raising more Rashtra Rifles battalions. You can't say that, okay, we have now 55, 60 odd battalions, let's raise 50 more and this terrorism will die. It will not. You can raise 500 more RR battalions. It's not going to change a thing. But when you get into the root of the problem and when you try to solve it from there, then things change. For example, when the government removed Article 370 and 35A, it damaged terrorism and separatism far, far more than anything else that the government or previous governments had done earlier. This simple act of abrogation of 370 and 35A was a death knell for the Hurriyat. I mean, these things suddenly started disappearing, because this was where they were getting their energy from. Now, I'll tell you what we have to do in the Northeast. I'm not a Northeast expert, but I have a lot of friends in the Northeast and the people of the Northeast, right? The Nagas, the Mizos, the Khasis, the Manipuris. I consider them my own blood, my own brothers and sisters. And I'm very close to them. I grew up amongst them. I studied in St. Edmund, Shillong, right? And I studied in St. Mary's, Aizawl. So I grew up among these guys from the Northeast. Unless you engage with them, right? If you tell a Naga, or if you tell a Mizo, or if you tell a Khasi or a Manipuri that, hey, I'm calling from New Delhi and this is what you will do, it'll never get done. It'll never get done. You have to understand their tribal structure. You have to understand their ethnic structure. You have to understand who the Gaon Buddha is. You have to understand who the tribal elders are. You have to get into it. You have to get into their society. And this is a solvable problem, this whole insurgency thing in the Northeast. It can, yes, there is Chinese support, first of all. Definitely. There is Chinese support. But let me tell you, China did not start it. Chinese took advantage of a situation. Any country will, right? New Delhi, it's now that infrastructure is being built. It's now that a reach out is happening slowly and slowly, and various people are there in the Northeast who are talking to the people. But New Delhi is guilty, and because of New Delhi's foolishness and looking at people of the Northeast as the other, as people who are lesser than people from mainland India, this has given rise to many problems. We suffer from a very bad attitude when it comes to people from the Northeast. All of us, we suffer from a horrible attitude when it comes to people. They're the finest people, yeah. There's absolute sweethearts, all of them. I know them because I've lived amongst them. Yeah? I call them my brothers and sisters, yeah. We mistreated them, okay? We mistreated people from the Northeast. And even today, if a girl from the Northeast, she walks in many places, especially in Delhi, people passed all sort of racist slurs, right? If a guy goes, you see, what you're doing is, when you abuse a person from the Northeast, you're not damaging that person, you're damaging India. You have to understand. And I will not go into details here, but I can tell you that if you talk to a Northeastern guy, whether he's from Assam or doesn't matter where he's from, if you talk to him as a brother or a sister, and if you talk to him from a perspective of mutual respect, all right, there is nothing that these guys will not do for you. I can tell you, take it from me, because I call them my friends and my brothers and sisters. There is nothing that a Naga or a Mizo or an Assamese or any one of these, tribal / non-tribal entities, there is nothing that they will not do for you. They'll die for you. But they're not looking for money from you. They're not saying that give us this, give us. No, they're not asking for any money or any special facility. They're just asking what normal people, which is the state's duty to provide. But if you ignore them, like we have done in the past, if you insult them, like we have done in the past, if you look at them as the other, this is the perfect breeding ground for militancy. Again, I'm saying, yes, there are elements who are inimical to India, who are there in the Northeast, right? Who have been taken advantage of by the Chinese and other people, and they find sanctuary in Myanmar and other places. That's true. That is 100% true. But 99.99% of the people of the Northeast, all they want is peace. All they want is progress and stability. They want exactly the same thing that you and I want. But the problem is that we have not treated them well. And when you mistreat a person, he will react. And this is something that we need to be mindful of. We do so many bad things to the people of the Northeast. Or there is no sense of shame also that we are doing something wrong. You see that sense of shame. There is no sense of, we have absolutely isolated them, and they say, oh, then why do they talk to us like this? Of course they'll talk to you like that, yeah? Because you don't realize sitting in Delhi what you have done to the people in Northeast. And I'm not saying you as in you who has asked this question or the viewers, no. I'm talking about successive governments from 1947. The way you're mistreated, the way New Delhi has mistreated the people of the Northeast. It's a Howard case study here. I'll not say more. Second question is from, hello Major Arya, this is Christopher Albert. Hello Christopher. Thank you for inspiring us with your this thing. I have two questions, if you don't mind answering. I've seen you say multiple times that China's Achilles heel is its economy, and to run an economy it needs a lot of fuel. As per recent data, most of its imports are from Saudi. Why can't we use that to our advantage as the fuel lines pass through Indian Ocean through the Malacca Strait? We could simply block them, can't we? No, we can't block them, Christopher, because if we try to block them, then there are repercussions, and this is, what China is doing. If China is trying to import oil from Saudi Arabia, you can't just say that, from tomorrow you'll not have. In case of war, yes, definitely. But in peacetime, I have also recommended sink a couple of their ships. But it's only when China takes aggressive action. It's only when China takes aggressive action. And see, always do things in isolation. Never do things in continuum. When I say that, if you destroy pipelines or the conduit of fuel coming from Saudi Arabia to China, you are upsetting China, that's okay. That's something that the Indian Army and the Navy and the Air Force will handle. You're also upsetting Saudi Arabia, and you're also, disbalancing the world oil structure. You can't do that. Do something that upsets China alone. Like, for example, their ships come, carrying microwave ovens and all that, and washing machines and whatever nonsense China produces. Just sink a couple of them, just to pass a message, or just block them for 3-4 days. Don't sink them, just block them. That's okay. That will hurt nobody. So I'm saying carry out a military action that hurts China. Don't carry out a military action. Saudi Arabia is your friend here. Saudi Arabia is your friend. Don't hurt your friends because you want to hurt China. Hurt China. I agree. I know you're a fan of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, so is Elon Musk. But here's my question to you as a neutral observer is, do you think he has the best interest at heart by keeping religion as his main point of campaigning, as the government under him has had a massive success in so many other areas? Okay, you want to know that as a neutral observer, should Prime Minister Narendra Modi be overtly religious? See, Christopher, I think he is from the RSS, all right? And he spent his life in the RSS. And so have most of the ministers. And they will. And they're not hiding it. They are not hiding it. Prime Minister Modi is not hiding anything. He's not saying, if he goes to the temple, he goes to the temple. If he wants to do something, he does it. And no Indian politician has done it. So earlier, people would go to a mosque, they would go to a church, they would go to XYZ. But, they would not go to a temple because they felt that, we would be looked upon as communal. But Prime Minister Modi has gone to a mosque, he's gone to a church, he's gone to a temple, and he says, I'm a Hindu, of course I'll go to a temple. And that's all right. That's all right. If he puts the tilak on his forehead, it's absolutely okay. And I love it when he does it, because I do it too. To be a proud Hindu does not mean you hate a Christian or you hate a Muslim. It's got nothing to do with that. And nowhere in any Hindu scripture it says that we are superior to a Muslim or we are superior to a Christian or a Sikh. Absolutely not. We are all equal. God created all of us. How can I be superior to a Muslim? How can I be superior to a Christian or this thing? No, we are all equal. Yeah, we are all equal. All we want is the freedom to take pride in our culture and our religion. And I think that is everybody's right. I think that is everybody's right, as long as it does not impinge on another person's right. There should be peace in this country. And I can say I'm a practicing Hindu, I'm a proud Hindu, right? And I have got friends in the army, officers in the army, my coastmates who are Christians and Sikhs and Muslims. And we get along like a house on fire. And I think India needs to learn from the Indian army, where my Sikh colleagues go to Gurdwaras and my Muslim colleagues and my friends go to mosques for the namaz, and the Christians go to church, right? And the Hindus go to temples, and we are brothers, yeah. In the army, we are all brothers. There is no distinction at all. We are absolute brothers. But I wish India was more like a cantonment. It was more like it's clean, it's green, people talk to you nicely, and there is a certain structure about it. Who knows? I don't know. Anyway, thank you for watching this video, ladies and gentlemen. If you like this video, press like, subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to press the bell icon. Jai Hind, Vande Mataram, Bharat Mata Ki Jai.